Anastasia Gors from PilatesBridge.com, and today I'm here with Lesley Logan. She's amazing. You've probably seen her around on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. So Lesley, she does business coaching for Pilates studios. She wrote a book or a couple, and she has several courses. So she has a lot going on. She has wonderful tutorials on Pilates, and you've probably seen her videos already. She does on-demand classes, basically a really multifaceted personality that I'm really excited to talk about today. So I'm going to let Lesley introduce herself a little bit and say kind of how she started with Pilates and where she is now with it. So here we go.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so fun. Hi guys, Lesley Logan. I have been teaching Pilates since 2008. I started in Los Angeles, and I had the pleasure of going through a few trainings. My most recent one with Jay Grimes, and my husband was the one that convinced me to start doing tutorials back in 2014, and so that's why the YouTube videos started. And then from that, online PilatesClasses.com started. You might know me from Profitable Pilates, though, and that is right. I have a book. I was struggling with people not having full trainings or being surprised that they didn't have enough trainings, and then they couldn't do the business side of things. And I thought, oh, well, let me solve my problem and maybe a lot of people. So I wrote a book on everything but the exercises, which has now turned into an online coaching community called Agency, where we have over 160 businesses in there. It's been around for 2.5 years. We coach them on everything. And then there's even a channel in there about exercises, but mostly if they want help on social media, courses, online studios, that kind of thing. That's
cool. So Lesley, did you own a home studio or a brick and mortar studio?
So I have had the pleasure of doing all the things. I started out managing a studio for a high-end fitness club, and then that turned into running 9 studios for them. And I also ran their I was the lead teacher trainer for their LA offices and their Orange County one. And then I downsized from all of that and just was a renter for another studio. And then I was like, okay, let's dabble in a brick and mortar. So then I had a brick and mortar. And then with Corona, we had this amazing opportunity where my clients were really loving virtual, and I was testing them on I don't know how I could open because my brick and mortar was small. And, what would you guys want? How are you guys feeling about it? And they're like, we love virtual, because they're just like, there's no traffic, they were coming they were coming extra. So the ones that were coming once a week were coming twice a week. The ones coming twice a week, going 3 times a week, all virtual. And so I was like, well, if you guys are just going to do this, then I'm not going to pay for this brick and mortar. So my husband and I decided to close the studio during Corona, and we moved to a house in Las Vegas. And so now I have a home studio. So now I get to be a home studio owner. And so I get to experience all the things. Yeah.
Cool. So I'm sure it was kind of a pretty scary, it was a pretty scary situation for all of us in the Pilates industry with this Corona going on and studios closing. And a lot of clients, a lot of studios, they're still struggling with this virtual offering. And they're struggling to move their clients to this virtual format. Do you have any tips for them on how to make clients more comfortable with it, or any transitioning or anything that you can provide for them?
Yeah, this is a great question, especially as, even though things are opening, I'm sure a lot of people have noticed your clients aren't running back into the studio. And so, I have friends who run 20 studios, and they're some of the best studio owners I know and had thriving businesses. And they're, at 25% of their original students, which is about average. So if you have 25% of your people wanting to stick with you and come in person, guess what? That's amazing. That's about average. So everybody's going to have to rebuild. But let's go back to your question about like, how do you get people comfortable with virtual? Because if you can get those clients back, you can thrive and you have a lot of options and you don't have to go find new people right now. And one thing is that a lot of people, I think, thought this was only going to be 2 weeks. And here we are, it's at 4 months. It's okay to call them again. It's okay to remind them of the options. And it may be that you have to make more time for actually just teaching them how to use their device. I think a lot of people are, especially in the beginning, we're just a little bit tech weary. And now it's been 4 months. Guess what? They've had to use Zoom or they've had to use FaceTime because they want to see their family. They want to see their friends. Also, back in March, when your studio was forced to close down, everyone's life was changing, all of them. So people being able just to switch to virtual, that was too much for them. But now they've been in it a while. So it's worth going back to them. And just, I would show them pictures of people who look like them doing Zoom at home. Like, get permission, but just go, like, show them, like, here's Sally. She's been rocking her mat workout 3 times a week, and like the dogs going by, like they need to see that it's possible. They need to see it in the small spaces. If you've got clients who are older, because a lot of us do, it's okay to be like, look, we're going to do this in your chair in your dining room. Like, you have to, they're used to seeing all the equipment and they're thinking, I don't have any of this stuff. But you could literally show them pictures. I have a client who does all of her rowing on the mat with 2 tall boys, those big beers. And and I'm like, you just can't drink them right now. Like, she does it with those and it makes her laugh. She thinks it's the funniest thing and that makes it fun. So would definitely go back to your people. And this is not a newsletter. This is like an individual email. This is a text message. This is a phone call. People, the more you're about people over product, the more you win every time. So I would just do a lot of social proof of where it's working. And then just keep in mind, it's not the price that's keeping them away. So you don't have to change your prices for virtual. It's really that it's that people don't want more change. They want life to go back to normal. But you have to be honest with them and just go, look, the longer we don't do this, the more problems you're going to have later on. We have to stay strong. We have to do this, and like try to meet them where they are and give them different options. If you have people who are like adamant about paying for privates at the private rate without the equipment, then you pair them up. You go, guess what? I'm going to Zoom you 3 at the same time. You're going to have a semi-private and you're just going to teach them, and like get creative, but you don't have to put yourself on sale for that to work, because this dance of going in and out of the studio might happen for a long time. And if you do this right, then when you do reopen, if Sally can't get from the office to the studio, she could do her session in the studio, and you're not like, okay, well, because you were in the office, it's only $50, but because you came to the studio, it's $75. No, like you got to do it that way. And then, another thing to keep in mind is your clients were buying from you in your studio because they are in studio clients. There are different types of people who are in studio versus virtual in the beginning. Now everyone's kind of virtual, but what did they get out of being in your studio that you could still give them even though it's virtual? Is it the accountability? Is it community? Is it personal attention? Was it touch? You can't do it in person now anyway. So you got to figure out like, okay, how can I teach? How can we use the wall, the couch, how can I use cues that deal with kinesthetic so that they feel that, and just remember what it was that brought them in, because just telling them, okay, it's virtual now, it might not have been the actual Pilates that they were going after. It might've been the other things that came with it.
Yeah. And I've seen it in some of the studios that I worked with and where I taught, like a lot of the clients, they were really hesitant about switching to mat Pilates, because a lot of them come to the studio with the only thought, oh, I'm going to be on the reformer doing my legs and straps, because that's my favorite thing to do in life. And then if I can't do it, no Pilates for me.
Everybody likes the feet and straps. What is that?
I don't know, but yeah, that was just the only thing. Like, we had too many clients. Like, oh, I just wish we could just have the whole class on feet and straps.
I know. I hear this all over the world. And here's the thing I think a lot of studio owners are feeling. If you weren't prioritizing the mat work because it is the most important, right? It is the most important. It is so freaking hard.
Yes.
If you weren't before, that's why you're in this position right now. And if you were deep discounting your mat classes, that is why you're here now. Now, I understand that people are like, well, Pilates is already so expensive. The mat work is where we can get a lot of people in at the same time. Great. Call them community classes, do different things. But like in any class you teach now, if you've reopened, you need to prioritize 5, 10, 15 minutes in that class doing some mat work. You need to talk about how everything is actually making it so that they could do the mat work better. That like if you talk about things like that, then when you switch to mat, people don't see it as less than. I think people are struggling with, oh, my clients didn't want to go from a private on the equipment to a private on the mat because maybe at your studio mat classes were $15. Yeah, they're not going to want that. So one thing that like I'm really grateful for is that I know myself, I always made sure my clients did some mat work, or we would do an exercise on equipment and I would go, okay, now show me your roll up. Things like that. Like even if you're doing things on the chair, just giving them the opportunity to impress you on the mat. Go, okay, now show me how this looks. And then give them that as homework. You guys, your education is what people are paying for. It's not the equipment. The equipment just is fancy, but take this opportunity now when you're reopening to really get people to see the value of the mat work, so that if we ever have to go back, well, some people are, then you already have trained them to think that way.
Yeah. Cool. Great advice. So another thing, like I wanted to ask you about this virtual, what do you think with your clients and the classes, do you think that on-demand kind of like live classes or pre-recorded classes sometimes would work better we're talking about, again, group class, not a private.
Yeah. So it depends on how much money you want to make and how much time you want to put into it. Live virtual classes you can charge more for. I actually think that people are really wanting that. There's more people who want that right now because those are the same people who are coming to your studio. People who would make the effort to drive to your studio to take class or to take private. They want the accountability, they want the community, they want you live about them, right? And the same way I'm talking to you right now, this is how I teach my live privates. I don't do it with them. I sit like this. It's all about them. When I teach live classes, I'll do it with them. And then I actually because I do that, I keep a half hour set aside that's for community time. They get to show off their dogs. They get to show off their coffee. They get to, like, someone has a wine glass. It just automatically appears. It's fun. And like, we ask questions. And so I price that into the thing. So my mat classes are more expensive than others, but you get 90 minutes instead of an hour. And it's because I know people want that community. Maybe you make yours 75 or 65 and you have 5 minutes on either side. I don't know, but like, people want the community. And again, you can charge your same prices for those live classes. When you go on demand, that is a special type of person. That is someone who actually, they don't really necessarily need the live community. They like knowing that they're part of something, but they want to do it whenever they want to do it. They want the convenience of it. They don't necessarily need you. And those people, that price point is much less. So you need more people to make the same amount of money. The other thing that people don't see is how much time and energy goes into the back end of on demand. And also, you guys, your insurance, trust me, when I talked to my insurance company, I went from like live teaching to on demand a couple years ago. Woo, that bill changes. And it's not like a couple $100s. It's like a few $1,000s. So just know that when you go on demand, that comes with a whole other aspect of time. And so, and your clients who are coming into the studio who want live don't necessarily even use the on demand. So you don't necessarily need to have that unless You want that as another stream of income, and then it's a different marketing strategy and it's a different avatar.
Yeah. So obviously one of the problems that a lot of studios are having, as you have just said, is that they are, in the best case, all of them are at their 25% capacity, what they used to be. And that's just with their existing clients. Obviously, we know that any existing client group over time, if you don't put any effort in it, it's going to start declining. Things happen, people move, financial, whatever. So you definitely, in order to keep the business thriving, at least thriving right now and have an ability for thriving in the future, you need to keep growing. What do you think, what are the strategy, or is it even possible to grow your virtual client base right now in this back and forth, maybe teaching only online time?
Yeah, actually, so I think anything is possible. And I think now is, you guys, now is like the biggest, I think a lot of people will survive this, and they will all be thriving on the other side. I think it all depends on your attitude, and it also depends on your resourcefulness. So I think a lot of people think that they need more money so they can stay alive, or more clients, but really just be resourceful. And so what I mean by that is, inside the group that I've been coaching, the moment that everybody went in shelter in place in quarantine, I had them doing different tactics. I was like, here's what you're going to do right now, X, Y, and Z. And one of those things is that you're virtual now. That means anyone can come. But you don't market to everybody or to just anyone. You have to be very specific. And I would say your social media, I always say this, your social media is an extension of your marketing. It is not the whole thing. Most people still today, and even more so today, because there's so much noise out there, they go off referrals. So the 25% of people that you have, you need to ask them, who else do you know who can come to this class at 5 p.m. PST? People who work till 7 p.m. on the East Coast would love that. Mm-hmm. They get home, it's 8 o'clock, they can take class with you. So, and because their friend Julie back in California loves you, and they're like, okay, well, if I take this class, Julie and I are taking class together, right? So you can now grow your business outside of your business walls. And if you do this right, even when your community where you live starts to feel better about coming back into the studio, because that will happen, it will come. It kind of has to for the world to survive. It will happen. You will actually have another opportunity where you have people who are taking at home somewhere on this planet and people in studio. Guess what? Now you get to have more people taking class. So I would just say that, so notice how I said it's who do you know? Who else do you know? It is not, do you know anyone? Do you know anyone is a yes or no question. Most people are overwhelmed. Their brain goes, no. But if you say, who else do you know who would be interested in this? Brains don't like open loops. So even if they don't know anyone off the top of their head, it is now sitting in their brain. It is there. And then when they're talking to their friend who works somewhere else in the country, sheltering in place, and they're like, gosh, my back hurts. They go, oh, you should take class the same time I take class. I love this girl. She's amazing. Right? So like, believe it or not, the 25% of your business that's still with you, because they freaking love you, they can be like, if all of them invite one person, you're at 50%.
That's true.
So, and you don't have to reward them by discounting. You can, you don't have to give them 20% off their next package. You can reward them with so many things, recognition on your social media or in a newsletter. You can ask your friend who owns the business next door to give her a gift certificate to a nail thing when they finally open up, or a restaurant across the way could maybe do half off their delivery dinner to her. Like, there's ways to reward people that don't require you to discount yourself, but I would start with your 25% and make them all invite one person.
Cool. And do you think that starting in a private session or just inviting people to a group class is a good step?
I actually think if you are doing this, like where you're sitting at your desk and you're looking at the class, could totally invite them to a group. Just make sure you have your waivers in check for virtual. That's all. Like they still have to sign it, but still bring them that way. And then make sure you have time to stay on afterwards to like, here's what I started taking this new workout. Guys, I'm so excited about this. I'm terrible at it. But this is what I love what this girl does. So I'm taking this workout. I had my camera off because it's a step class and these girls have moves I just can't have. If you look at my Instagram, you can see I'm like trying and I got dogs and the whole thing. These girls are like undulating and they're like, Lesley, that looks like the hula. And I'm like, I'm trying. Okay. But anyways, my first 2 classes, I had my camera off and no one had said anything. The 3rd class, this teacher goes, so this is a 2-way street, guys. I'm giving you energy. You got to give it back. Camera's on. And I was like, okay, I've been called out. So I had to have so you can have a rule. The camera has to be on so that I can see what you're doing and I can give you corrections, right? But she always takes a moment at the beginning of class for everybody to go, okay, who's first time stepping with us today? Tell us where you're stepping from. And so I got to go like, it's my first time I'm stepping from Las Vegas, right? And they're like, Lesley from Las Vegas is here. And now every time I come, she actually goes, oh, we got Vegas in the house. We got Houston in the house. Like she's got this. So it makes it feel like it's community. It makes people feel good. Give yourself a few extra minutes before you go into your next virtual so that you can literally at the end of class, thank the new people for coming, ask them if they have any questions. And then I would make sure that you email them and you can say, hey, normally we recommend that you do this many privates before you're in a group class. So if you have any questions, we could do a virtual private just to give you some pointers so you can make this out. But since they're not all on reformers and they're not all on Cadillacs, there's a little bit less of them to like really screw it up, Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, something that you also mentioned is that giving people social recognition, and obviously, especially in these times, I feel like studios and teachers who have been active on social, it has been maybe a little easier transition for them just to kind of keep the momentum going and everything. And obviously, you have excellent social presence that I enjoy following. But do you have any tips for the studios who are already struggling and it's like, oh man, what do I post? How do I handle just this another headache of running a business when I don't even know what to do with my life right now?
I feel for you. I do. I think for every studio owner out there and for any teacher who like was a renter or maybe you were an employee and the studios are decided to just like close the doors and they're not doing anything, like it's a shock. Like, first of all, everyone needs to give themselves space and grace that like trying to live life during a pandemic and then run a business at the same time. None of us have had this experience. There's no business class you take on. There's not a book. There will be after this, but there isn't one now. So give yourself some space and grace. Second, pick a platform and just do it. You don't need to be on all the platforms. Yes, I'm on YouTube. Yes, I'm on Instagram. But if you really, and Facebook, but if you really look at things, you will see that on YouTube, the videos post 3 times a week. And on Instagram, I post almost every day, but on Facebook, it's pretty intermittent. In fact, if you look at my personal profile, it's pretty rare. And that's because I just have more fun on Instagram. That is where I have a lot of fun. It's where I have a lot of engagement. It's where I get to date in the DMs and people ask me questions. And like, that's where I get to see what my agency members are doing. I can follow my OPC members and see what they're doing. Like, I really care about my community and I have fun there. So that's where I have fun. Now, some of the people I work with have tons of fun on Facebook. Great. Pick one and do that. And don't worry about what you're not on, because there isn't one platform that's going to rebuild your business. It's what you put on the platform that's going to do it. Now, to go to what do you post? So I say this, and then if you look at my platforms, you might think that I'm a hypocrite. And so, yes, I am-ish. But you have to remember like who I think my avatar is and what I'm going for. If I was trying to build my in-person business or just my virtual private business in general, then I would actually talk about my clients more. I'm actually trying to focus more on onlinepilatesclasses.com or Profitable Pilates. So when you look at those, you'll see that I post a ton of stories about my OPC members and what they're doing. I have them post videos and I share them. I want people to see real human beings taking my classes. On Profitable Pilates, I give a lot of business tips. And then in the stories, I share the takeaways of my agency members. So what you need to post, whoever you are and whatever you're doing, is you have to remember that it's actually more about people seeing themselves in your hands. So you can be really strategic about it and go, okay, on Mondays, I post about a client's testimonial. On Tuesdays, I post about a story from class last night. On Wednesdays, I actually post a tip that I want them to do for Thursday's class. On Thursday, I post a Zoom picture of class. On Friday, I post about the services I do. So most of your posts should just add value, always. Just give away the information. And then every like 5 or 6 posts, you could actually go, I want you to come to this class. This is what we're doing in class. And just keep in mind that social media is an extension. It's a way for people to experience you. There is not anyone on Instagram going, I'm looking for a class Thursdays at 7 p.m. and then hoping that Instagram spits out all the posts that say class tonight, 7 p.m. It's not going to do that. So, but if you're putting up value, things that help people with the pain that they're in, physical, mental, whatever, and your followers see how amazing it is, they will tell their friends, they will share it. So care about your shares, care about your @ mentions and your engagement, and focus on who you're trying to get to come in and less about what you're trying to get them to buy.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
And then just pick one platform.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really easy to get overwhelmed and think like, oh, I gotta, because a lot of people read all the advice and recommendations and they're subscribed to like 10,000 emails that clutter their email box. Like, oh, I gotta do this and I gotta do that and I have to do all this stuff together. As a result, they end up doing nothing, or just
right.
kind of enough of the inconsistent stuff to be completely useless.
Yeah, exactly. And then they feel fraudy about it. They feel like it's a waste of their time, and then they don't want to do it. And then it's taking up brain space. You guys, honestly, at some point, maybe you get to hire someone to do this, but until you're there, just have fun with it. And one of the business coaches that I've worked with, she's like, people over product. I love alliterations. I love that. Like, if you don't know what to post about helping your people. That's what you post.
And do you recommend sometimes using any kind of software to auto post where you can schedule a post and stuff like that? Or you think something that goes out personally is a better way to?
So the social media algorithms, they know when you're live, guys. They actually know if another platform schedules it. So I do have a scheduler that schedules for my secondary and tertiary things. So we do post on LinkedIn because we have a lot of professionals that use our platforms. So those are scheduled because I don't actually have joy in LinkedIn. We schedule Pinterest because you actually, to do Pinterest well, it's like a full-time job. That's scheduled. And then all of my exercise blogs are scheduled. What is not scheduled is anything that I post on Instagram. I do that organically. Now I batch write generally. I'll sit down and I'll think about, okay, this is what I'm posting. This is what's going on this month. This is what I'm posting. And then I just do it in my notes, but there's apps for this that you can write in. Mm-hmm. And then I copy, go to Instagram, paste, pick it, and the whole thing. Posting and ghosting, they can tell that you got off the app. And I promise you that engaging, because it's called social media for a reason, will help you. So if you want people to engage on your post, you should go engage on theirs. And since all these people are teachers watching this doesn't mean go engaging with teachers, because then the algorithm's just going to show you other teacher stuff. You're going to feel fraudy and not good enough and have imposter syndrome because I'm doing this back bend and it has this many things, and so-and-so's got a workshop and it's this many things. You start telling yourself a story that everyone's better than you. Mm-hmm. Follow your people, follow your clients, follow their friends. like their posts, be really intentional about whose post you like, because then the algorithm will show you more of those people's things. And that's what I would highly recommend that you do, is just post organically and then go engage on some other people's stuff, like 15 minutes. And it will actually help everything that you're doing. I understand you're busy. I get it. But scheduling your Instagram posts and then wondering why no one engages with it, it's because you're not being social.
Yeah, got it. And do you find that it makes any difference what time of the day you post, or about like when you feel the inspiration strikes, just go for it?
If you are not going to post because you missed the ideal time, post whenever. But I have a friend who is dedicated at posting. I bet like literally at noon, if I go to her feed, her post will be up 1 minute for sure. She never misses her noon post. That information can be found in your insights, and it will tell you when it says that your best posting time is. I don't live by that rule. Does it bite me in the butt? Sometimes, but I would rather post than not post. And so, yeah, but yes, your insights on your whatever platform you're using will tell you this is the best time to post. So you can do that.
Cool. Excellent. So can you tell us a little bit more? So you mentioned a couple of times your agency, the Mastermind, the group for the teachers and the business coaching. What else? Is it more like a course? Is it, again, like a mastermind group? What's involved?
Yeah, thank you. So it was really important to me to not have a coaching group that was like this many weeks long and here's your template and now go make money. Because there are so many different ways you can make money as a Pilates instructor. Tons. I have friends who literally travel with one client all around the world, 45 weeks a year. That's it. That's how they make money. And I have other clients who have home studios and people who've gone from home studio to brick and mortar. And what I realized that the community needed was less of a here's how you get rich quick and more of here's a space where you can literally ask anything you want whenever the question comes up. Because what happens if you're in a coaching program and then it ends and 2 weeks later you're doing the work and now you have a question? Mm-hmm. What do you do? And so, so for me, I wanted to have a platform that allowed people to be in a community and allowed them to feel safe to ask any question. It doesn't matter what you teach. We actually have bar instructors, a doula, a couple personal trainers in there. There's a yoga teacher in there. I mostly just say Pilates all the time. They have to translate that. But I wanted it to be a community that it didn't matter what your background in teaching was, you were automatically welcome already. And you could ask any question. And what's really cool is there's someone in the group who probably already asked that question and now they get to support you. So now they have confidence because they're like, oh, I didn't know that answer. And now I know that answer. And that's really fun because the more confident you feel in your business, the more things that you'll do, the bigger your dreams are. We bring in 2 webinars a month, either from a speaker or we'll speak on a topic. If we notice that there's like something that everyone's having a question on, we'll put it in the lineup. And so we've had Chris Harder and Lori Harder. They have their own podcast. Lori Harder's Earn Your Happy. She wrote the Bliss Project. We've had a photographer come in to give like tips on like what you need to be thinking about when you're doing photography. We've had people come in to talk about how to create content quickly. We had Lauren Salon who came in to talk about how to get your own PR, why you don't have to pay for a PR person. So we bring in different guests. We just had someone come in about personal financing. Next week, we have someone come in and brought branding. So I bring in 2 webinars a month. And then we have group calls. For some members, they get a group call every month. For some, they get it every other month. And it literally is a place you get to ask anything. And our original first 5 members are still members today, 2.5 years later. And it's been pretty wild to see how it grows. And I have to say, I've never was more proud of this creation until March 17th, because on March 14th, I flew in from Cambodia. March 15th, LA shut down all the gyms. I had taught everybody how to teach virtually and like what to do. I was like, here's an extra webinar, guys. We're just going to do this. This is what you're going to do. And within that week, slowly all of their businesses were shut down, but they were already ready to go. And they had each other during a pandemic to like lean on and go, okay, I'm struggling with this, guys. Who else has been doing what? And they didn't have to wait for a coaching call with me. They didn't have to like ask a forum, like, what should I do here? And then get told, oh, go for free. I'm doing for free. Like, they actually had a place where like everybody was in it together and they could share their fears and their worries and their wins and be fully supported. So that's what agency is. If you want to know more about the memberships, guys, it's at profitablelives.com/agency. So that's what it is. And it's really fun. It's like this, I don't want to call it like my baby because I don't have kids. I don't know what that means, but like watching it grow into what it's become, it's like bigger than the wildest dreams that I had for it originally. And so now when I think about where it's going to grow to, it's bigger than ever before.
Cool. Well, something again, kind of to tie into that, out of all the members and that have gone through your coaching or been with you, can you just maybe somebody would jump in your mind that was like the biggest maybe success or the biggest transformation, how they came in and after being part of your group, what they came out with or what they were able to?
Yeah. So we have one girl who joined while still having her corporate job. She quit that corporate job to open up a brick and mortar. Within 3 months was overbooked. And at 6 months, she was so booked, she was looking to hire. Then the pandemic happened. She did not enjoy virtual teaching. So we figured out different ways. She has a different stream of income that now is paying her more than she was making teaching. And so she's been able to just completely pause teaching, do this other stream of income that feeds to the people she was teaching already. And now as she gets to explore reopening, she is even more confident, like, oh, actually, I'm not going to teach these people because she's got this other stream of income. So she gets to be pickier and we can reopen her business with even more positive and more alignment with her goals, which is really great. We have another girl who joined in January and she was an employee at another studio and she wanted to have her own studio someday. So we're kind of like working with her. And then Corona happened. She didn't know what to do because her studio wasn't offering anything. And so she learned how to do virtual. And now she is got her own home business growing and thriving. And she made more money last month than she did as an employee, twice as much money last month as she did as an employee for the other studio. And that it's only, July? So that's with Corona. So it's been really cool. We have someone else who has an app now. And they've hit every membership goal they wanted to have for that. And another studio owner who is able to start her own courses now, and she's launching a new course. So we kind of can hit everything because my husband is a tech guy. So what I don't know tech wise, we've got him. So they have 2 coaches to help them.
Awesome. Well, and finally, just to kind of finish up, since again, a lot of I've been following a lot of your tutorials on Instagram and like YouTube with all the Pilates stuff. If anybody is just looking for, maybe they just want to check you out as a teacher, can anybody just join one of your not on demand, but like your live classes, or just to kind of have a fun, good workout? How would they?
Oh, I would love that. If you're like, Lesley, I got this business thing figured out, or I'm not interested in it. That's what onlinepilatesclasses.com is for. Super easy URL. we call it OPC. And it's where you'll find all of our free tutorials. So we add, to OPC, we add 2 a week, and you can find them on any piece of equipment. They're there. If you don't see the one you're looking for, you can just let me know. I'll probably be filming it soon. And then we have a community, actually, because I do believe that people want to feel like they're part of something. And so when you're an OPC member, everyone's taking the same class every single week. So it doesn't matter if you are in Europe taking it at 2 o'clock and someone else is taking it at 8 o'clock in Australia. You are all taking the same class that week, and you get to share your experience in that community. And it's only $5 a week. unless you want a reformer membership, and then it's $7 a week. We do offer live mat classes every month. They're called pop-ups. You can find those on onlinepilatesclasses.com. And once a month, because of Corona, I started doing a extended equipment workout. So either on the Wunda chair or the Cadillac. This past Sunday, we did a spine corrector one. We make sure that the replay is up forever. So when you buy it once, you get it as many times as you want. But I think it's fun to play around on the different pieces of equipment for people who want that. And as always, in all the live classes that are virtual, we hang out afterwards. And that is really important to me because I want to see you and I want to hear what questions you have. And I want to hear what exercises you're struggling with because I want to help. And either that's me filming a tutorial for you or just like helping you right there in the pop-up. It's really, really fun for me. So yeah, you can find tutorials for free, or you can join my classes at onlinepilatesclasses.com.
Awesome. Yeah, because I think a lot of the teachers, well, your business side or business coaching, that's great. But I think a lot of people, they connect when they can maybe take again a class from you or something like that, and they get meet you in one of those after class community discussion and just feel more comfortable with you as a person and to then take on.
Yeah, that was really that to me. I'm sure you can all who are watching this raise your hand. You became a Pilates instructor because you love Pilates. You did so much Pilates as an apprentice, like you were like just every day Pilates. Then you started teaching, and then everybody's sessions came before your own.
Yep.
And something that was really important to me when I was creating OPC was that I don't want you to have another decision to make. I want you just to show up. So that's why you only get one class, because you just need a log. I just need you to get there and press play. And then I will feed you. I will fill your Pilates soul. And then because you have that same class all week long, you can come and hit your mat and just explore. Oh, today my high scissors are this, or, oh, I can't do this today. And that's all information, and all you have to do is show up, because I know how hard it is to show up for yourself. I'm busy too. So that was just really, really important to me. And so, I think Pilates instructors they're such givers. I know very few Pilates instructors that are takers. They're mostly givers, and they give so much, and they often forget themselves. And so that's one of the reasons why OPC exists, is for them.
Awesome. Well, I'll definitely make sure to have all the links to both of your platforms and also your social accounts, all that under the video, so that everybody can find you. And then obviously, if you guys are having trouble finding the links, just Google Lesley Logan. I'm sure you're going to find plenty of information regardless of where you search for her. She's all over the place.
Thank you. We worked very hard to be Googleable.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody again for tuning in. And if you have any questions, leave the comments, or you can, if you have any particular questions about Lesley's programs, I'm sure she won't mind if you just reach out to her on Instagram or through any of her websites and just ask her personally.
Yeah.
Thanks.